Speedway in the 1965 season. We have pictures of some of the cars coming into the Speedway. The 111 was driven by Mitch Smith, the Stanley Springworks Special. It's the number 1 of Pete Swarmer from Strode's Mills, Pennsylvania. This is a former Register Chevrolet car that was driven the previous year by Ray Tilley. Car number 9 from Elmira, New York, Brian Osgood. This is a car number 48. The driver also from New York was Harry Benjamin. The 78 is another New York driver, Billy Schroth. Car number 39 was the Trone Sunoco Special, driven for the driver from Lewistown, Pennsylvania, Johnny Dubendorf. The 57 of Graham Taylor. Mitch Smith on the Speedway in the Stanley Springworks 111. It's the number 16, one of the first sprint cars to come to the Speedway. Roy Morrill 880, driven by Junior Ritchie. This is a former Emmerich Chevrolet number 1 that was driven the previous year by Dick Tobias. Bob 4 in car number 80 from Bedford, Pennsylvania. Also a former Emmerich Chevrolet car that was driven the previous year by Milford Wales. Close-up of Pete Swarmer in the pit area. The car, this is a close-up of Brian Osgood, the driver of car number 9. It's Roselle Dolan in a white uniform, driving a sprint car number 188. Pete Swarmer setting in car number 1, being ready to be pushed out on the Speedway. This is some late model action at the Speedway in warm-ups. Number 7, it was driven by Jim Kennedy. The number 50 of Bill Ulsh. It's a 188 of Roselle Dolan. More late model action on the Speedway. Warm-ups for the modifieds. This was number 85 sprint car driven by Chuck Yost. I think the car made 2 appearances in 1965 at Port Royal. The car was for sale and it won both feature events. The number 46 was driven by Johnny Grum. The 15, the driver from Lewistown, Dutch Snyder. More pictures of cars coming into the pits. Again, the 880 of Junior Ritchie. Car number 80 of Bob 4. Bob 4 was the Port Royal Speedway track champion in 1965, and he did it without winning a feature event. Trone Sunoco 39 of Johnny Dubendorf coming in. Marv Kaufman's car number 14. It's a 17. It was driven by Spunk Wilson. .7X was driven by Bill Lepkleeker. Number 50 again coming in of Bill Ulsh. Got more late model warm-ups on the Speedway. There's the 188 sprint car driven by Roselle Dolan. Again, the 7 of Jim Kennedy. Looks like the 880 out for a couple hot laps. The number 1 of Pete Swarmer in hot laps. Got more late model action on the Speedway. Number 33 was driven by Butch Renninger. Number 14 was driven by Barry Camp from Beavertown, Pennsylvania. The 09 is another one of Brian Osgood's cars. This was a former Al McClure number 15 that was driven by Frankie Thompson. Number 48 out of the Speedway, driven by Harry Benjamin. That was the Homer Smith Plymouth, car number 4. Number 15, Dutch Snyder. The 188, again, the sprint car driven by Roselle Dolan. Roselle Dolan was killed later in the year trying to start the engine in his older race car. He was pushed down the hill at his home. The engine started, the throttle stuck, and he failed to negotiate the turn at the bottom of the hill. He was wearing no safety equipment and died later on that night in the Lewistown Hospital. The F9 was driven by Troy Funk. It's another former McClure Motor Company car. The number 1, driven by Pete Swarmer, was a former Regester car that was driven the previous year by Ray Tilley to many feature wins. Pete Swarmer finished second in the point standings with the car and won many features, and in one night he broke the one-lap record 8 times in the main event. The number 10, the J.P. Russell number 10, was driven by Brian Osgood. And another heat race for the modifieds. Another close-up of Pete Swarmer working on his car in the pit area.